This is my 1999 Honda Civic EK hatchback. I purchased this maybe like 3 years ago now. The previous owner was getting ready to part it out. I'm gonna try and fix this and get it back on the road. He already took pretty much everything apart. Whole interior was stripped out. There's no wiring harness or HVAC or anything, so I've already gone ahead and removed the front subframes, rear trailing arms, and then I'm going to be installing an EG front subframe along with Integra front and rear disc brake conversion. I do have a donor right here because I needed some parts like tail lights. This one comes with the dash harness and the engine harness, and so this will be my donor, at least in terms of harnesses. And yeah, let's go ahead and get this thing back on the road. A little update on what I've done so far. I've ran these brake lines front to rear. Pictures online show this thing in this orientation, but some of them also show it in flipped around 180 degrees. But I don't know, this is the way I ran it because they were saying that this is the right front, left front, rear right, and then rear left. Not the best looking bends and all. I just kind of bent it by hand, but got the job done. So brake lines are all good. They're pretty much just hanging out where they need to go. I checked the fuel tank. Fuel tank looks good, no rust. I just removed the dash. Since the dash I'm getting is a 98, I'm probably just going to convert it all to a 98. Hopefully these over here plug in with no issues. We got the dash out of the donor car. This is the dash out of this car. I need part of the dash harness and the interior harness for the 96, 98. But if I do that, it doesn't work with some of these, the body harness. They call it the floor harness, I believe. And so it's kind of, I gotta like really mix match parts. I might cut this connector because it's different. I might cut the wires off, find out what goes where for like fuel pump, tail lights, handbrake. I think just little stuff like that. There shouldn't be too much for the floor harness, but this dash is the 96, 98, and you can see it's cracked right here. This is my 99 dash, and it's good condition other than being like super dirty. And so I'm gonna swap the skin over onto this one because I could just swap the harness over, but this one they cut part of the reinforcement, this piece right here. So I'm just gonna swap the skin over. I'm gonna be running 96, 98 manual heater core. I think my gauge cluster should work. The HVAC will work. This plugs into the heater core right here. So this is what I'm currently working on. Depinning and repinning the connector because you can see they are a little different. I checked and all the colors were the same, like the exact same. So I figured, you know, it's worth repinning it. It'll make it a lot cleaner. Repinning is done. Got these tabs locked back in place. And here's the old connector. And all the old wires. So we're good to go here. We got these trailing arms out of the Integra. It's gonna be kind of hard to see, but you see this lower control arm is seized in there. The nut in the back is already broken off and it's still in there, so that's not going to be too fun to remove. Hopefully I can get it out without too much fuss. I'm getting ready to put the subframe in. I've already got the engine harness all wired up, got the battery tray in, fuse box in, got the whole dash completely reinstalled. I'm missing the whole bezel, so I only put the HVAC controller in here. I was working on the trailing arm yesterday. You see I had to cut out the lower control arm because it was seized in there. And so I cut it out. And then I had to, probably can't see it, but I had to, the stud was still in here. It's right here. But I pretty much welded a nut to it and then got it the rest of the way out. And so they're ready to go in. And then once those are in, put the subframe, the front knuckles, run the e-brake cables, and she'll be ready for an engine. Lighting is a little bad. Got a couple lights that went out, and it's a mess in here, but got the engine hanging here. D16Z6. That's what I'll be throwing in here. I already put the subframe. This is a Integra GSR subframe along with Integra GSR front and rear brake setup. Fully disc brake converted. Everything is already tightened up, ready to go. I just got to run the brake master cylinder, run the lines, and then it should be pretty much ready for the engine to go in. And I got to figure out a couple things. I already got the jumper harness for the distributor, so that should be good. I just got to go find the distributor. The only issue I have now is the alternator harness. It is a circle plug, and the alternator harness on the, I'm assuming 96 to 98, maybe 99 2000 Civic has this too, but it is a square-ish plug. And it has small pins instead of big pins. So I either got to cut this off and splice it onto that, or I got to get a 96 to 98 alternator. I don't know if I want to get an alternator because I don't have one laying around and I don't want to buy one. I know that it doesn't look like I got a bunch done, but I've got new lights. So it's nice and bright in here. I can see again. Had an issue obviously with the alternator, and I was gonna cut off the green plug right here from an OBD1 harness, but I had this B series alternator laying around and did a quick Google search, and AI said that it will physically not work because the spacing is different, but you can see that it is physically possible, and it is exactly the same. So it will work. The only difference is that this pulley is a lot smaller and this one is a lot bigger. The belt won't slip over this. This is all the way forward like this, and it still won't slip on even if I take out the bolt. So I took off all the other belts, and I believe it was the power steering. It is the perfect length if you want to run a B series alternator in your D series. So now I will have OBD2 plug. Just gotta wait for the belts to come in, and yeah, like I said, everything is identical, and so it bolts right in. I'm just not gonna tighten it up until I get the car, or get the engine in the car and get the belt in and all that. Finished the brake master, plugged in those two lines, plumbed in those two lines. Still need VTEC plugs, but they are literally the same as these, what's it called? Coolant. I don't know if this is coolant temp and why there's two different ones, but these are coolant sensors, and it's the same exact thing. So if I can't find a VTEC sensor or pigtail, I can at least find a coolant pigtail. I am plumbing up the exhaust. Here's a look at the exhaust. See, I've got it running all the way back now. I already had the mid pipe laying around, so that basically just bolted it up and no issues there. However, the D16 headers, I had to do this on the Integra as well. on my D16 Swap Integra, but the D16 and the B18, they are like this flange is faced up here and this is faced down here, so then like the bolts don't line up, so I had to chop it off, clock it, put some bolts through it to hold it where I wanted it to go, and then just welded it. And if we come around to the back, I've already started tacking up the axle back, which I bought some eBay twin loop axle back. Looks pretty decent. It's got a nice tip to it, and then nice twin loop. I love the way the twin loops sound. They're not too aggressive, and you know, they just sound pretty good. But anyways, I had an old axle back laying around, this piece right here, so I chopped off the end piece so I could use the flange. I've got plenty of clearance over here, plenty of clearance up here, and yeah, the exhaust is almost done. Once I'm done with that, I just gotta put up 2 hangers, and then this exhaust will be nice and sturdy. I'll probably take the hangers off of this guy as well. Wish I can hear it soon, but I gotta figure out the engine wiring. Oh, look at that. I put in RSX steering wheel, so that's pretty cool. Got the exhaust all welded up. See, it's got hangers on there. No more supports, but it is hanging a little bit low right here at the mid-pipe section. Alright, the time has come. Got starter installed. I've got most of the wiring done. This is just an extra ground since I don't have this ground strap that goes right here. The only thing I really have to ground is this, so I just threw that in there for an extra ground. Still missing a bunch of connectors. Like you see, these are just hanging out. There's a bunch. So that's like the idle air control valve. There's another one right there. I don't know what that is, but a bunch of loose and missing connectors. But last night I tested out the ECU. Fuel pump kicks on, so main relay is working, ECU is working. I just topped it off with oil too, so the only thing now is to try and fire it up. So we will see how that goes. I gotta do it like this because I'm missing the screws to put that into the ignition. Alright, maybe I need a step on the clutch. Well, starter works, starter relay works, but it's not firing, so it's either I got the wrong firing order on these, which I don't think I do, I'm pretty sure they're right, or I got the injectors kind of mixed up because the Y7, the harness comes up through here instead of over here, or I don't have spark, so we'll have to test for one of those. Sounds like I have good compression though. To kind of narrow it down, I'm going to use some starting fluid. Super low, but this will help me determine if it's my injectors or not. If it still doesn't start, then I can safely somewhat assume that my injectors are fine. So just go ahead and it's either gonna work or it's not gonna work. I doubt it's gonna work. So that didn't work, so I probably don't have spark. So we're gonna have to figure that out. Did a bunch of testing. Distributor was not firing. I swapped out the coil pack and the ignition control module, and still not firing. So I think this distributor is done for. So I have this OBD1. I have a couple of distributors actually, but I already had this jumper harness in here, so I decided to just put the OBD1 GSR distributor in here, and you can see none of these bolts line up, but I have it clocked exactly the way this one was right before it came out. So I'm gonna plug the injectors in. Key's already on. I'm just gonna jump the starter straight to the battery and see if I can get it to fire up without me sitting in the car, and hopefully I don't kill myself. So hopefully these injectors are also routed correctly. We shall see. You gotta hold this distributor down. Alright, maybe I gotta advance it and whatnot. I kinda heard it start. Alright, I can hear some like backfiring. We'll see. We'll see what I can get it to do. I can't tell if I'm too far advanced or too far retard, but yeah, she wants to fire. I just don't know if I have the right firing order on this car. I'm pretty sure this is the Z6 distributor that came out of this car, because it had one and I took it off to rob some parts off of it, and it was a working distributor, but this one's not working. So I mean, that's the only one that bolts up to this pattern, so I assumed, and it's OBD1, so I assumed that one was the right one, but obviously it's not working anymore. And so maybe I'm just following like the wrong you know, clocking pattern for the distributor. But anyways, I'm gonna go do some research, check online, see how it's supposed to look, and then we'll come back and give it another shot. I think I finally got it figured out. So distributor was bad, but not because the distributor itself was bad, but I swapped coil packs, ignition control modules, and it still wouldn't start. So then I tested some of my known good distributors, and they had spark, and so I didn't want to tear them apart, but I bit the bullet anyways. I was like, I know they work, so I have to put them on this distributor because it's the matching one to the engine. So I have to put them on just to eliminate everything. Because even with those on, they were sparking, but because they didn't line up, it wasn't allowing the car to start. So now I just test fired it really quickly, shut it right off. It's not really the first start anymore, but it'll still kind of be like the first start. We'll take a walk around, see how the car sounds. It sounds pretty good, but you guys are about to find out. But yeah, everything's looking good. Let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. Man, this thing sounds pretty, it's nice and quiet. I like it. Nice and quiet. Idle's pretty good. So I guess I got the plugs correct. So that's good. Oh shoot. The crazy part is I have this plugged into the, this thing's a turbo tune. Yeah, I should probably unplug it and plug it into a stock ECU. But anyways, let's take a quick listen to this exhaust. Sounds pretty good, but I don't know how the heck it's running on it's definitely running rich. It shouldn't be running rich. It should be running super lean, if anything, but I don't know how the heck it's running on this map. But we'll plug the stock ECU back in, try fire it up again, see how that does. All right, got the stock ECU plugged in now, so try and see if it fires up. If it doesn't, then it's definitely something to do with the ECU. There we go. She sounds so much happier. This exhaust. It's just a cheap eBay twin loop, but you can never go wrong with the twin loop because they just sound good. It's a D series, so if it wasn't for this twin loop, it would not sound good at all. Alright guys, sad news for the EK. This engine got about 10 miles on it, and I hit VTEC, and then it just started smoking. Did a compression test, 180, 70, 80, 180. So I threw a little bit of ATF in here and compression jumped back up to 120 and 120. So I have worn out piston rings. You can see from this breather tube right here, spraying oil all over my map sensor and all over the firewall. And so the compression is leaking into the crankcase and blowing it out. And also I have like oil leak because of the compression and combustion getting into the crankcase. So it's like pushing oil out of random spots. So yeah, this thing has to come back out, but unfortunately this engine's done for. I have to either rebuild it or replace it, and I don't want to rebuild it right now, so I will probably replace it. I picked up this donor automatic Integra B18B1, and so I might throw that in here because right now this Integra has a D16Y8, which I prefer the Z6 a little bit more, but the Y8, they make a little bit more power. So I might just throw this whole Y8 into the EK, which would be period correct. But it's still OBD1, so I have to run all OBD1 stuff, which obviously I'm doing already. So yeah, this one is a healthy running engine. It's just that it doesn't have VTEC wired up, so I got check engine light for that. But yeah, I got a B18B1 right here ready to go in here. I got a B18 transmission sitting right over here in my stash of parts right here, and so just got to mate them up. Should be good to go. I have a old clutch from my Integra GSR that I can just slap into the block, since that's an automatic, since this is an automatic Integra. So I'm fully good to go there. I have this other B18 with the B20 manifold. It's got a clutch on there too, but I don't know if I want to use that clutch. It looks pretty rough. But yeah, I got a couple of options. Or I can just throw the D15, because I want this to just be a gas saver for now, you know. I don't want to make a lot of power or anything with it. I just need a reliable winter beater. But yeah, I don't know. I could also throw this D15 from the stock EG hatchback. I can just throw that in here and save a lot of gas, but that means that thing won't be running, and that thing is already rusty, like super rusty, so I'd rather not drive this in the winter yet, especially since these are rust-free Type R doors. So I don't want to do that, at least not yet. This thing is getting parted out anyways soon, because I am going to strip the full interior, the whole HVAC system, dash harness, everything. I'm going to throw it into the K20 EG that you guys saw, and then I was hoping to put maybe this engine in there, or the turbo B18C1 from this car in there, because we're doing a swap. So this is getting a K20A2 fully tuned, makes like 208 to the wheels, and then we're pulling out the turbo GSR in here and throwing it into one of the other projects, either this one or this one eventually, or something, you know. And so I got a lot of stuff I gotta shift around. I was not expecting to be pulling engines this soon, but I guess I'll just have to do that. But anyways, right now my focus is on getting this thing fully painted, completed. I'm gonna leave the engine in here for now so that I can move it around while I wash it, paint it, do all this stuff, and then maybe I'll yank the engine out, throw it in here, or maybe I'll just yank the B18 out. I don't know. But yep, that is the story with this guy. She's gonna be sitting on for a while until I figure out what I want to do with it. The engine still runs, so I can still move it in and out, and so I don't want to tear it apart right now, because then now I gotta tow it around. So yeah, that really sucks. But yeah, anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm glad you guys came along for the ride, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.